How's she going, boys? Mike here. Welcome back to Grampy's Workshop in part 2 of our thickness planer maintenance videos. Hope you're enjoying them. First part we kind of stripped her down and got it ready to be cleaned up a little bit, so that's what we're going to do. Stay tuned. So here we are. We're trying to get this drive roller out, and I may regret this. I couldn't find a master link in that chain, so I took the keeper plates off of both sides. So we're going to lift this roller now, and we're going to try and pull it out of that sprocket. We hold it right there, get the chain off it. There we go. So that roller is free now, so I can check those bushings, and there you can see the springs down in there on both sides. And I should have taken the back roller off first perhaps, but I'm going to do the same with that one. And these chains, there's no master links in them, so you just set them up. You can't tension them, they just are what they are. So I'm going to take that other roller off so I can check its bushings. So with both rollers removed now, both of these drive rollers, I can get a good look at this gear set in here that's actually driving those rollers. And I don't know if I'm going to take that apart. I'm going to try and clean that first without disrupting that, because although there's probably only one way those gears can go in, I just as soon not dig into that. And here's our two drive rollers. They're not in bad shape. We're going to take these sprockets off the end because they're just held on with circlips. We'll take those off so we can clean up those shafts, grease those bushings well, and clean the roller up with some mineral spirits probably, and clean the head, and then we'll look at the base part here, see what needs to be done on it. I know underneath it there's the pinion gears there for running those screws, so we'll clean those up and re-grease those. And then we start putting her back together, and I thought I had bad bearings. It does sound a little, but I don't know whether that's bearing noise or gear noise. And I'm not sure how I would get at those bearings. I think that would be a big job to rip that out, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Here's the head unit, I guess you'd call it. And I cleaned it up some. I was going to, I wasn't going to bother taking this this roller out, the actual planer head roller. I was going to take that out, and then as I was cleaning it, I was thinking, you know, in this gear train at the end of the roller, and this gear train is important because that's what drives the input and output rollers to make sure product flows well under the planer head. There was a lot of old grease caked in that, and I thought, well, geez, I should take it out. So then I tried to remove that roller, and it wasn't coming out right easy, and I thought, I'm only going to get into trouble here. So what I did was I cleaned up this gear train as best I could with some solvent and some, you know, scrapers and whatnot, and then I re-greased it, so it seems a lot better. So I'm kind of glad I didn't take that roller out. Probably could have got it a lot cleaner if I did, but the bearings sound good in it, and now the gear train is greased well. So I'm thinking that that's going to be fine. So now what I have to do is I'm going to clean up these the pillow blocks here. Well, not pillow blocks, but the bushing supports on these friction rollers. And I'm going to clean the base up a little bit, of course, because the base is kind of dusty. And underneath the base, there's the pinion gears there that I'm going to clean those up too and grease them. And then you can start putting her back together. Okay, now we're back at the thickness planer, rebuild, repair, whatever we're going to call it. The head unit has all been cleaned up and greased. The drive rollers cleaned and greased, and I've cleaned the base as best I could and greased that. I have it bolted down to the table right now, but the pinion gears underneath are greased and those screw feeds are greased. So the next thing to do is we're going to start assembly. We're going to put these rollers in with the drive chains over here, and in order to do that we have to flip this head unit assembly upside down, and they're going to go here, and this is the drive on this end. So that's what we're up to next. So she's coming together, boys. There's the two rollers in it, the infeed and the outfeed, or the outfeed and the infeed, whichever or which, and the chains are back on. So I had to put a little bit of lube on those, oil, chain lube probably would be good, and we'll be ready. What I'm just thinking about doing right now is I'm wondering if I shouldn't put the blades, the knives in here and line them up while I have this head out easy to get at, rather than mount it back on the base and then have to be fighting to get in and around everything all the time. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Alright, I decided that I was going to remount it on the base and put the motor in place before I adjusted the blades. So I'd like to turn it around here and show you now. Ooh. No, this is a blade adjuster tool that came with the planer. So I'm thinking I'll be able to set that in there, something like that, with the blades, and then it shouldn't be so hard. Ooh, I don't know how well you saw that, but it shouldn't be so hard to adjust it. Anyway, that's what I'm going to try to do. If that doesn't work, I'll just take it right off and do it on the bench. The frames. The beauty of this thing is you just set it up and you push down on it, and because the blades are mounted on springs, when you push that down, that sets the height. Anyhow, I'm going to just snug these up just to take a little tension on them, so I don't have so much adjusting to do. Putting the gauge on, and I'm not an expert at this, so I'm just going to put the gauge somewhere in the middle of the roller